Get that money.
Hey y'all, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition of the Black Dollar Coalition.
Welcome back, guys.
Yes. I know that you guys have been enjoying this, and I'm so happy that you guys are. And as you can see today, we are going to be talking about real estate.
Yes, my fave. I'm so happy.
Yes, because you are very well versed in this, and that's one of the reasons why I was so excited when you agreed to do this segment with me, because it's nothing like talking to someone who knows what the hell they're talking about.
Absolutely. I love giving information to people who are looking to purchase their first ever property. That's why I created my channel, Own a Spot. And so today we are doing first time home buyer tips.
Okay. So I hope you guys have your pens, your paper, and you are taking notes, because we are about to get into some things. Okay. And also, while you're getting that pen and that paper, I hope that you looked over and you hit that like button and you made sure that you were subscribed.
Yes, with your notifications on.
Okay. Ting.
Ting. Ring that bell. Hit the bell, as they say. Okay, guys, so first time home buyer tips, I've got you. The first thing I want to say before I get into the slide is that you can do it. That's the first thing I want you to know. Even if you're taking notes, write that first. That's the first thing you need to put is I can do this. Okay, purchasing your first property is not hard. You can do it, and today's tips are going to help you. Okay, so the first thing you should do if you're looking to purchase property is to call a realtor. Nope. Run to redfin.com. Nope. Call a lender. Nope. The first thing you need to do, guys, is to calculate your DTI. That's the first thing you should do. And people are surprised by this. They're like, what's the first thing I should do if I want to purchase a property? I say, calculate your DTI. And it's very easy to do. All you do is take your monthly expenses, right? So every fixed bill that you have every month, so your rent, your car payment, your insurance, your student loan repayments, your child support, your whatever you have that's the same amount per month on your budget, because we've been budgeting. So take those items from your budget and total them, right? So those are your total monthly expenses. So you take that number, take your total monthly expenses, and divide them by your monthly income. It's very easy. Now, that's a very easy calculation, but there are calculators on online where you just plug in these numbers and it'll calculate it for you. So all you do
for all the lazies.
Whatever. Yeah. So there's no excuse to not know your DTI. Okay. So, and if you want to use one of those calculators, all you have to do in Google is type in DTI calculator and they'll come up. Google has its own, and there are several more that'll pop up, at least 5. So calculate your DTI. What is your DTI? Now, don't judge yourself, but it's okay to judge your DTI. Okay. So look at your DTI and say to yourself, is this good? Should I take some steps? What should I do? So once you make the calculation, there will be 2 numbers after the decimal, right? So it could be 0.38, 0.17, 0.55. And those two numbers after the decimal are your DTI expressed as a percentage. So 0.55 will be 55%, 0.17 will be 17%. Easy peasy, just look at the two numbers behind the decimals. You want your DTI, guys, to be 30% or less. So you're looking for 0.30 or smaller. Smaller. If your DTI is above 35%, then that's kind of high. We need to take some steps, right? But you won't know that until you calculate it for yourself. And DTI, when it comes to getting approved for to purchase your property, is the most important factor. It's more important than your income. It's more important than your credit score. It is the most important factor. If you don't believe me, we have couples that combined make $400,000 a year. They each have 800 credit scores, but their DTI has disqualified them from purchasing a property. And then on the other end, we have people who make
Oh wow.
a very modest 30,000 and their credit score could be in the 600s, but their DTI is on point. So they are approved to own a spot.
Oh wow. That's something to know.
Yes. Yes. And a lot of people don't talk about it, but I'm here to hook you up. Like these are the insider tips, okay?
Yes.
So that's DTI, guys. Calculate your DTI. You want 30% is our target. 30% or less. If you get up in the 40s and certainly the 50s or anything higher than that, we need to work on that. So that is my first tip. What do you think, E? You got it?
Yeah, I think that was very enlightening because like you say, like when people ask you and you tell them that's the first thing that you should do, they're very surprised. And I
Mm-hmm.
see why, because you could just giving us example where on paper or I guess by your check, you would think that you can go buy whatever you want to when
Mm-hmm.
there are other factors. So
Yep. And this is the most important factor. And also, what happens, Ian, why I tell people to do this before you even call anybody in the real estate industry
mhm.
is because what happens is people feel like, I'm doing okay. I'm pretty well qualified. And then they get a no, right? Or a not yet, and
Right.
they get discouraged and then they don't approach it. And so I'm trying to prevent, make this as painless as possible, right? Prevent any tough moments in the process, because you need to stay encouraged, right? So we are on top of this. We are already on our DTI game.
Mhm.
Okay, so my next tip is the checklist. I call this getting packaged to own a spot, right? There are things that every lender, no matter who you talk to, need from you as a potential purchaser. And they also need it not just from you, but from every person that wants to purchase property. So this is standard. Everybody's going to need this. This is not a step that you can skip, no matter what anybody tells you. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell you the checklist to get you packaged, to get you prepared. Ready?
Pick up those pens and those papers.
Yes, here we go. Number one, check stubs. That's easy. You have them in a drawer or a box, or you can get them electronically from your employer. You need check stubs going back a minimum of 12 months, a minimum of 12 months for your check stubs. Ready for number two?
Number two.
Number two, your bank statements. You need bank statements. Actually, you need financial statements for every account you hold. I always say bank statements because most people, have bank accounts. But if you have stock brokerage accounts, like I have stock brokerage accounts, for example, if you have, other money market accounts, every financial account you need your monthly statements going back 3 years. 3 years of financial statements. for every account. So if you have a checking and a savings account, yes, you need statements for both of those accounts. Every financial account. Okay. That's number 2. Number 3, your tax filings for the past 5 years. That's pretty easy. Most people keep a copy once you file your taxes of what you filed. So you probably have that sitting around. None of this is hard. None of this is hard, guys, but it's all absolutely required. There is no step I'm mentioning that you can skip. Okay. It's easy
And
stuff.
she knows. Okay.
Yeah. It's easy stuff. And, and if you can do it, then you can do it, if you know what I mean. All right. Tax filings. That was 1, 2, 3, 4 is residential history. Now, this is going to be a little trip down memory lane. This is also required. Okay. You're going to sit down and you're going to write down everywhere you have lived in the past 7 years. Everywhere you have lived in the past 7 years. If you can, if you happen to know, like the property manager or the owner or whatever, and you have their contact information, include that. But at the very least, you need every address you've ever lived at for the past 7 years. Okay, so that's called your residential history. And your residential history will go back 7 years. And E, did you have a question?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
All right. So, and then next you will have your lovely credit report. Okay. Freecreditreport.com will allow you to print out your entire credit report once, twice, or 3 times a year. It depends. They've been shifting it back and forth. But your full credit report. This is not Credit Sesame. This is not Credit Karma. This is your full credit report from freecreditreport.com. You can also get it from, I think, Equifax is, yeah, you want all 3 credit bureaus, okay? Just print them out, okay? Don't judge yourself. Just print them out, okay? And what you need to do is take every negative item or missing item or item that is in error and explain it in words, okay? So, and it just has to be a paragraph. So, for example, what did I have to explain? I'm going back to my home purchasing process. Oh, I had a thing with my car. So this is what happened with my car. Quick story time.
Okay, we got exclusive story time now.
It's awful. Okay, so I live in Chicago, and the whole parking situation and the red light cameras and the meters is all a racket. It is terrible. So I owned a car which was towed and impounded for unpaid tickets, right? So I was paying to get the car out, and something happened. I think they also alerted the finance company because I had a car note. So I think impounded the vehicle. They told the finance company, "Hey, we took this lady's car, right?" But I continued to make payments on the car. Because they received that alert, my finance company felt like I was like defaulting on, but I'm like, what? I was paying them every month and I could show that, right? And so it was on my report for quite a while, and I had to kind of go back and forth with them about the error and all of that stuff. But that was something I had to, write a paragraph explaining and adding my supporting documents. This is when the car was towed, this is the receipt from when I retrieved the vehicle, all of that stuff. Whew, it was such a headache. But
that's what I don't like about these corporations, because they mess up and they take forever to fix it, but you mess up, your shit is fucked up immediately.
Girl, I was so frustrated because it took a while for me to get the car back, and I was still paying on a car that I couldn't drive. I'm on the train paying for a car,
I'd be
and you're
pissed.
girl, I was very upset. But that was something that I had to explain.
And
And
then you got to relive it and explain it to a motherfucker.
yes,
Oh,
yes.
wow.
But it's a good practice because what will happen, a lender will look at the item on the report and then they'll read your paragraph and your explanation, and if it makes perfect sense, they will move on, right? But if it's
Okay, so
there,
wait a minute. I have to pause you
yeah, go ahead.
because that's bullshit. Because what if you get somebody and they don't particularly like you or
Mhm.
race is involved and stuff like that? Like, why do they get the power to determine whether your paragraph makes sense or not?
Oh, so when I said the paragraph makes sense, I mean in terms of explaining the situation as an item on your report,
Mhm.
right? So, like with my situation, I was not a delinquent payer, but the way it was showing on my report was that I was a delinquent payer. And I just had to provide, documentation. I was auto paying my finance company. So I had very clear, statements like, this is my money coming out on the same date every month to this corporation. And so, but the thing is, if you don't provide that, they're just going to see the ding on your report.
So it's less about them being okay with your explanation
Yes.
and more about showing proof.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Absolutely. And this is why I recommend this step, because it's very important. For many people, it's going to be the difference between them being approved and being not approved. And it's a very simple thing. And like I said, you know, you're getting packaged, you're getting all your stuff together, take an afternoon, get this done. And once it's done, it's done. And then you'll be good to go.
Okay.
So, credit report and your supporting documentation and explanation for any negative items. Now you are packaged. That's the checklist. That's the checklist. For most people, this will take a couple days, right? It'll take a couple days to purchase, your highest valued asset, right? And get closer to your financial goals. So, it's not a big thing. Once you are packaged, then you are in a position to get pre approved. Now, a lot of people, you'll see an advertisement and it'll be like, oh, you're pre approved, get pre approved. All you have to do is tell me how much you make and what your birthday is, and I'll pre approve you. Um, that's not an actual approval. Actual approvals require everything that I mentioned in the checklist. Okay.
They shouldn't play with people like that.
They shouldn't, but it's to rope you in and get your business and get you engaged. And I understand it. I get it, capitalism, but but yes, you need all of your things. So make sure you do your checklist so that you can get pre-approved. And getting pre-approved, guys, is how you know your budget. Before you talk to a realtor, you have to know what your budget is because that's what your realtor is going to ask you. Okay. So if you have a $400,000 budget, if you're looking for a property valued around that, then, I need to not show you properties valued at 1.5 million. So
Mhm.
that is how you figure out what your budget is through your pre-approval. And finally, know your desired area. This is very important. So, E, when you purchase your first spot, what neighborhood do you think you would purchase in?
I can't say. Yeah, I know my life is crazy and I really don't care about a lot of stuff. Like I was taught it's not where you live, it's how you live. So long
Yes.
as me and my man cool with it, we moving in.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so fun little known fact is that your realtor is actually, or your real estate agent is not allowed to recommend a specific neighborhood to you. Did you know that?
I thought that was like their job, though.
Nope. Nope.
What?
So it goes against fair housing law because there were all kind of racist practices in the past
Well, I definitely
where
believe that. Yeah.
mhm, where realtors would conspire and they would, point people to or away from certain areas or neighborhoods or, geographic locations. And the
Mhm.
law has stepped in to correct it and said that is not your lane. Buyers themselves are to determine where they want to purchase, and you can help them purchase there, right?
Mhm.
So, and I also, a lot of people don't know this.
So
I
wait, I have a
Go
question.
ahead. Yep.
So like, I've never done this because I've always looked for myself.
Hmm.
But of course, as my life changes, then other things will change too. But like, most of the time when we like watch different TV shows or just maybe talk to a family member or a friend or something like that, when you get a realtor, they look for it because like I've done this in business where I've actually sent the realtor to find me a location. So what is the difference between that? Like, because that's why I thought it was their job, because they actually go out and they find you the locations, like they tell you what's available and stuff like that.
Hmm. So, great question, E. Thank you so much for this question. So, realtors search within the geographic parameters that you give them. So, you
Okay,
have
cool.
to give them to them. And don't come to me talking about, I want to live in Chicago, because Chicago has 72 different neighborhoods, right? And
Hmm.
I wanted to see right now on market in Chicago, it's like 17,000 homes available, right? So how many? No, 6,500. So how many would you like for me to take you to?
Right.
So that is the first step that you need to do prior to hiring your realtor. You heard it here first. So
Okay.
select your desired area and then you hire a realtor. This is a cute one. I got this off of Google, but she looks like a cute little realtor, doesn't she? Then you hire a realtor. Hiring a realtor is not hard actually. Once you know your budget, once
Mhm.
you know your desired area, then you are ready to hire a realtor. And remember, you'll be working with that person exclusively. I have a little saying, E.
Mhm.
I like to say no side realtors,
No side
no
realtors?
side agents. No.
But why? Why?
It's important to work with your realtor exclusively.
Mhm.
Most realtors have a buyer's agency agreement that they'll have you sign, which just says, that you represent them, etc. It's kind of like if you have one case and two attorneys, how chaotic can that get, right?
And what if you need to switch up your real estate agent because they just ain't for you?
You can certainly switch them up. It's important to communicate that
Mhm.
and the buyer's agency agreement formally, meaning in writing, and then begin a new one. And that's totally fine. And that happens and it's normal and it's okay. You don't want to ghost a realtor, right? You don't want to do
Yeah, I'm
that.
the queen of ghosting.
Yeah. You ghost people? I'm shocked by that.
Love to do it too.
But no, I mean professional ghosting. You ghost a professional that that was your
Whatever aspect of life I don't want to be around anymore, I'm disappearing.
OMG. No, E, the people need closure. Give them
The
closure.
closure is you never heard from me again.
I don't recommend that. So this is what I'll say about the business. This is what I'll say about the business. You want to be a good client, right? If you're a good client, your realtor will run through brick walls for you. I have done it. I have colleagues who have we will do it. And so, when it comes to um working with um working with real estate professionals, you want to deal in good faith. You definitely want to deal in good faith. You want to be courteous, respectful, etc. And you want them to provide a very high level of service as well. And so make sure it's a equal and fair exchange when it comes to, yeah, commitment level. No side realtors. No side agents, guys. No side agents. And your realtor is going to get you to your goal. They work with you from search all the way through to closing. There are lots of steps in between in that process. And so you want to have effective representation so that you can get to your goal the right way.
All right.
She's like, okay. I'm trying not to ghost anybody anymore. If you're watching on the replay, drop down in the permanent comments and tell Eve that that it's
They
not
already
nice
know.
to ghost people.
I'm out of there.
Yeah. But like, what about this, Eve? What about sending a text saying, thank you for your assistance so far. I'm going in a different direction. 2 sentences.
I'm gonna just let my man handle outlet.
Okay.
Because
Got it.
it's not like for no reason though. Like it's mostly probably for a reason. So at that point, I don't want to talk to them no more. So
Yeah. Got
the
it.
communication probably won't be very nice.
Got it.
Because
Got it.
I'm gonna just say, "Fuck you."
Yes, we should play that at the end. Those have been our tips, guys. First time home buyer tips right here, brought to you by the Black Dollar Coalition. Let us know if you have any questions down in the permanent comments. We love questions, right?
Yes, and it is a coalition because we all bring something to the table. Because as you see, sometimes I don't care about the answer.
Right. Exactly.
So make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, and make sure that you guys are subscribing to my girl On the Spot because she goes into in-depth explanations about more topics and also has great content over there, period. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Thanks, guys.